4-4
Raspberry
2 by Robert Nettleship. Chapter 4. Aloft the school hall roof stood a heron gazing down on a group of boys and a crowd of shouting adults. One group of boys wore blue and white, kicking a leather object around, and the other side were wearing red and white stripes. They were being shouted at by a balding man in his 30s who wore John Lennon sunglasses with golden bracelets adorn the wrists.
"That's for Gordon Bennett's sake. Coach Sam has lost his voice. All he asks of you is you'd listen and do your raspberry best. Is that too much to ask? You've got 90 minutes to give it your all. Think of your mothers. Think of your mothers. Play like you're playing for your dear old mothers. Imagine your mother on her deathbed, willing you to win, or she'll die. And for raspberry's sake, please keep your shape."
Coach Rodney's temple was glowing red with tension. Had moved to a tree, perched on a branch was the curious heron. Through a nestle of branches and thickets, that beady-eyed stare glared on to see some small humans kicking a leather object at a hapless small human who was floundering on the floor and watching the said object roll straight past him. Mr. Patson was the regular commentator for each Epping Forest game, and he was in fine voice today.
"It's a fine winter's day here at Epping Forest Primary. They host the gallant Chelmsford Primary, who are racing ahead near the top of the league. Perfect weather today, with the temperature a brisk 4 degrees Celsius. The pitch has a touch of frost, however, if one looks to the sky, they will see the clear winter sun. Feel the rays on your face with a relish, like one eating a pork pie and mashed potatoes. At the risk of being cliched, I would say there is not a clear cumulonimbus cloud in the sky."
"Right, hands in the middle, boys,"
said Coach Rodney, counting the players. "And girls," said Tessa. She was an underrated wing wizard who in last week's training managed to single-handedly put the entire defence on their backside, including Coach Rodney. This was before nonchalantly slotting it in the top corner. Rodney counted the players and noticed that one was missing.
"Oh, for Gordon's sparkling frilly underpant-wearing strawberry raspberry Bennett! Where the raspberries Rudiger? Did anyone see him?"
They all shook their heads.
"Oh, apples and pears! I've got to go and get Rudiger. You lot get into position,"
he shouted as he hitched his trousers back up his backside so he could sprint faster towards the changing rooms.
Sir Chelmsford have lined up with a fashionable 4-3-3 formation. They have a few players to watch out for, one of them being the wing wizard Georgie Savage. She's been top of the league with her assists. There's also been a lot of creativity in the middle of the side. Epping Forest need to be really on their game today.
The heron saw 11 small humans stood there in position waiting, and another 10 on the other side. Atop a small building, the heron stared down below him to see 21 smaller hapless humans with several bigger, angrier humans who sounded like they were baying for the players' blood.
"Kill them!"
shouted one parent.
"Mercy is for the weak!"
shouted another. Just try and do your best, said another.
Here is the Epping Forest lineup. There is a slight change to their usual formation. They're using a 4-4-1-1 formation with Tessa Hearn floating behind striker Anderson. However, we seem to be missing a player.
"Here he is!"
shouted a familiar voice. Coach Rodney was shepherding a sopping wet Rudiger towards the pitch. He was soaked head to foot. "Sorry, Coach. I tried a science experiment. It exploded everywhere. I didn't think it would turn out like that," said Rudiger to Coach Sam.
20 minutes in and Epping Forest are 2-0 down. In fairness, they have troubled the Chelmsford keeper, but the defending needs vast improvement. It would help if they forgot about the huge slug near the corner flag.
"Remember, keep the shape, and if in doubt, boot it out. Bletchley, can you stop picking your nose? You'll get a nosebleed."
Coach Rodney was doing all the shouting as Coach Sam pored over his notebook. He was heavily considering changing to a back three.
Hearn gets the ball and skips past one, pings a lovely ball through to the striker Anderson. It's woefully offside. What a pity. Some nice football, mind you, from Epping Forest. What a fantastic tackle by Rudiger. He's timed that to perfection, and it has been launched into oblivion by Bletchley. I say, where was this standard of defending 24 minutes ago? It's like watching the Azzurri in their prime. Glorious! Who needs Nesta or Maldini when we've got Rudiger?
However, 14 minutes in and close to half-time, Georgie Savage had scored an amazing wonder goal. It was somewhat akin to the Joe Cole volley against Sweden in the World Cup. That was the World Cup when Trinidad and Tobago made their debut. Trapattini had taken it past 5 players before crossing it in, and it was volleyed beyond a hapless Adams in goal.
For Raspberry's sake! How much more are you going to put up with this, Mr. McGonagall? We're 3-0 down to a Raspberry pub side! Pathetic! It's an absolute Raspberry disgrace!
Mr. Bledgie was incandescent with rage, and he was not alone in directing his frustration at coaches Sam and Rodney.
We told you to go back to 3 at the back, you melons! I'm complaining to the head teacher, and if nothing's done, I'm going to the governors. Coach Sam out!
However, out of nowhere, Rudiger had taken the ball forwards and was driving at Chelmsford, who seemed slightly taken aback. They're not the only ones.
What are you doing, son? Get rid of it!
Shouted Coach Rodney.
He's doing a David Louise! Give it to McKenna!
Shouted Rodney.
And for Gordon Bennett's pretty underpants sake, stop picking at Raspberry Nose, Rudiger!
The centre-back has gone on an amazing run. He's still on the ball, jinky past 2 players, and he looks like he's going to take it around the goalkeeper. Look at that! He's chipped the keeper! The parents are going wild!
The ball had been lobbed over the goalkeeper and rolled into the net.
Get in there, Rudiger! But if you do that again, I'll give you detention. We can't take risks like that. It's too much for the old apple tart.
That's it, kids. More of the same, shouted one parent as they trudged back into the changing rooms.
I must say, we should still go 3 at the back. Mind you, that does earn some player, ain't it?
Said another parent.
It's a Raspberry shambles. How much longer, Coach Sam? How much longer are we going to have to watch that shower of watermelons? Not good enough. Clueless tactics. No excuse there now, is there? Not good enough.
Rory Bledgley's moustache was fluttering like a butterfly with rage as the children sadly trudged away.
Right, listen up,
said Coach Sam.
Bledgley, go get some tissue. Coach Rodney warned you about picking that hooter of yours.
The children had prepared themselves for a volley of frustration from Beacon, which was the nickname for Coach Rodney. The nickname had been appointed because of the ball patch which flared red when his temper was boiled. However, he had decided to stay quiet. The children did not know which they preferred, a Coach Rodney spitting with rage or a silent Coach Rodney like a coil viper.
Right then, let's start with the positives. The last 10 minutes of that first half were excellent. We kept our shape, and the tactic of getting it wide attacking the flanks really seemed to pay off. So well done, kids,
said Coach Sam.
On the other hand, will someone get rid of that raspberry slug? It's far too much of a distraction. Anderson, I can see you making faces as I talk. It's disrespectful. Tessa, you played out your skin today. Keep it up. I want you to try and move to the wing. We're bringing Cole up front.
However, a hand quivered in the air.
Coach Sam, can I say something?
Asked Rashid, the utility super sub.
Oh, go on then, lad. As long as it's not got anything to do with raspberry slugs,
said Coach Sam.
Well, Coach, Leyton Orient came back from 4-0 down to win 5-4 last weekend, offered Rashid.
Oh, thank you for that most noble interjection, Rashid,
said Coach Rodney.
Right, boys and girls, we got 45 minutes to prove these parents wrong. Just play like you did in the last few minutes. You never know what you can do if you put your minds to it. Just go out there and get stuck in, and for goodness sake, get rid of that slug.
The match finished 3-3. Chapter 5. The team bus rolled down the North Circular. Coaches Sam and Rodney were taking the team for an educational field trip to go and watch Manchester United play Leyton Orient in the FA Cup. However, Coach Sam had 2 events on his mind. Firstly, he was ruminating over an argument which occurred with his long-suffering wife Carla.
Football, football, football.
football. That's all your raspberry talk about. One striker up front this, or stick with the two that. What about spending some time with me? You can walk across that touchline with your cigar, swilling whiskey all you want, thinking you're Don Raspberry Withy. But I tell you what, Samuel, unless you actually care to engage with me on a debate about the effects of climate change on today's environment, you can forget it, Samuel.
His neglected wife had felt ignored ever since he had taken the coaching job at Epping Forest. She just did not understand the constant internal struggle that he was going through. Every waking hour he pondered switching to a 3 at the back or keeping faith with the back 4. But the problem was the exposure of the flanks.
Well, Sweet Pea, I was just pondering converting our fullbacks into wingbacks, but now you've got me proper rattled.
I wish you would forget the idea of an extra sweeper defender system and debate with me on climate change. You used to. We used to watch David Attenborough documentaries, and we used to discuss the decline in today's oceans. Nowadays, I'm lucky if I get to watch 30 seconds of newsround with you.
Rudiger, where'd you get that spider from? The bus driver is a strawberry arachnophobe. Put it away,
said Coach Rodney, sipping at a sturdy glass of whiskey. In the previous press conference, he had called the parent Rory McKenna a lemon sherbet. Naturally, this did not go down well with the parents. Unfortunately, the parents would not let the idea of a back 3 go. During the press conference, McKenna's father Rory was especially irate.
You're a waste of space! Clueless, the lot of you! Not raspberry good enough! Well, we all wish we had your crystal ball of knowledge, but until you gain some coaching badges, keep your cake hole shut, you little melon.
Rodney swatted the criticism away like an unwelcome wasp.
Right, squad. Here we are at Old Trafford. Before we watch the match, I want to point out some things to watch out for.
The children groaned.
Manchester United have the best defence in the league for a reason. Adams, please stop shaking Tessa's chair in front of you. And Edwin, stop pulling those silly faces. Where was I? Oh, yes. Watch how United sniff out the danger and get rid of it. Remember, if in doubt, hoof it out. Comprende?
Yes, replied 40% of the group.
I said comprende?
Yes, replied 65% of the group.
Capisce? Capisce? Capiche? Capisce? Capiche? Capiche?
Chapter 6. Coach Rodney had rallied the troops onto the pitch to face Dagenham boys on a misty Monday afternoon, following the school bell. Dagenham boys were near the top of the league, most likely compared to today's Arsenal. They were known for playing slick passing football, but they never won a major trophy, aside from in 1998 when they went the whole season unbeaten. The coach of present times was called Grant Fanbard, an ex-pro who hung up his boots last year due to allegations of misconduct with several innocent teapots. He was charged under the Misconduct with Inanimate Objects Act. Mr. Fanbard was fined £2,000 and had to write an official apology letter to his local Tory MP, Joris Bonkson.
Welcome, folks, to a glorious Monday afternoon at Epping Forest. They share a gallant fixture with Dagenham boys.
Give 'em melons, lads!
Shouted Coach Rodney.
You doing okay, Sam?
He asked his counterpart.
I'm cream crackered, and not in a good way. Carla made me sleep on the sofa again, because I was banging on about how I suspected Brian Clough was possibly working for MI5.
And here we go. Longford kick off with Scappacici. He plays a long back pass to the centre-back who... Oh wait, Tessa Hearn has gallantly plucked it out the air and knocked it into the top corner. How gallant, how daring, how brave.
Get in there, Tessa. Most underrated player in our side, if you ask me.
However, unfortunately, Epping Forest followed with some abysmal defending to concede 2 goals in 10 minutes.
And what's happening here? Corp Blimey!
Oh, apples and pears!
Shouted Coach Sam.
My goodness! Set me pants on fire! Something most peculiar's happening here!
Rashid, for some unknown reason, was rolling around on the muddy field with his arms out of his sleeves so it looked like he had no arms, saying,
I'm a potato.
I'm a potato. I'm a potato.
As Rashid rolled aground.
Rashid, if you don't pull yourself together, you'll be subbed off,
shouted Coach Rodney. The final whistle blew to a chorus of boos and jeers from the parents in the crowd.